Hello, I'm Derya Şengül, a motivated designer aspiring to become an SDSI student, and I will be presenting my proposal to provide psychological support to younger children in the disaster-affected areas. As we all know, natural disasters can be devastating, leaving behind physical, emotional, and of course psychological scars. And recently, my country was struck by two major earthquakes, and I began to research the problems that arise from such disaster that can be solved by well-being services. As a result, I addressed the prevalence of PTSD among children and adolescents after earthquakes and floods. Stress disorders such as PTSD have a significant impact on children's development and their overall well-being. The research suggests that children and adolescents are vulnerable to post-disaster stress disorders and that lack of psychological support increases the risk of developing the disorder. It is worth noting that the majority of analyzed studies on this research focused on age groups that could express themselves effectively, and some of these studies conducted self-report for the diagnosis. And self-report data's reliability increases with the age of children. Younger kids might experience difficulty expressing themselves verbally. Therefore, it could be harder to provide psychological support tailored to their needs. Due to these reasons, I believe they are the most vulnerable group among children and adolescents that are affected by a natural disaster. There is also a need for more research on younger children in order to have a more understanding so that better solutions can be provided for them. In order to contribute to the well-being of these children, I believe our focus should be on providing psychological support while creating opportunities to understand them better. Our users would be these younger kids affected by a natural disaster. They might experience difficulty expressing themselves and they need psychological support. We know their interest in toys and the benefits of toys for their development, and we need a way to detect their stress even though they might not be able to express it while we're providing this psychological support. So we can utilize biosensor toys during this support process. This approach can help in detecting signs of the stress disorders earlier, such as stress levels, as well as providing valuable insight throughout the support process. But we should be aware of the possibility that this data can be misinterpreted, and we need to consider the ethical and privacy concerns of this data and make sure that the data collected is only used for the betterment of the child's well-being. Of course, while providing psychological support, even without utilizing these toys, through our service providers such as psychologists, psychiatrists, and social workers, we will understand the effects of these events on younger children. But when the environmental factors during disaster are taken into account, we should find a way to make it easier and more efficient. By utilizing these toys, we could improve the service that providing psychological support. And the providers will be psychology professionals, social workers, and service workers that will work in the established facility in a temporary shelter area which is built on a safe environment in the disaster-affected area. And the construction of the legal processes of the service, because it will involve the use of data and obtaining consent from the legal guardians of the children who will benefit from the service, are the steps that needs to be taken. And children might be unable to identify themselves or might be unattended due to loss of their parents or caregivers. Therefore, the role of the state, the government in the process is very important as well. And utilizing these toys, of course, there are several ways of keeping it sustainable, such as acquiring already existing toys and only equipping them with the tech tools, or service can be provided. And we can look at what our user journey looks like. They will come and be welcomed to the facility. After introduction of the toy, they will choose their toy and join the other kids while waiting for the professionals' intervention. And after their session with the professionals, they will leave with their toy, which means they will still be interacting with the toy. While this is only the user side of the service, providing this journey to the user will only be possible with the service providers and use of devices in the front stage. And this will be made possible by the backstage actions supported by support processes. Utilizing this technology during the psychological support process and its verification through the professionals' interventions will be beneficial to evaluate and continuously improve the service. Thank you for listening.